Zooming In is brought to you by Under Armour Performance Apparel.
I've been hunting my buddy Joe Loomis's farm in western Iowa for more than 10 years. I've taken some great bucks off his property during that time. In any event, this is the location of the ground blind where cameraman Lance Tangen and I were set up on the afternoon when I missed the 9-pointer. This field out in front of the blind consisted of both standing and picked corn. The buck was standing in this corner of the field, approximately 150 yards away, when I missed him. On the first evening of my return trip to Joe's property a couple weeks later, I once again set up in this ground blind. Though I saw over a dozen bucks in and around the cornfield, I didn't see anything big enough to warrant dropping the hammer of the TC Pro Hunter muzzleloader. Just before daylight the next morning, I made my way to a ground blind located here along the edge of this partially picked cornfield. I was hoping to catch a big buck making his way back from the field to a bedding area located here in these thick cedars. Now it's important I point out here that the blind I was hunting from sits atop a fairly steep hill. My walking route, shown here, allows me to approach the blind from the back side of that hill. In most instances, I'm able to slip into the blind undetected, and that was the case on the fateful morning. As the footage showed, the 9-pointer was standing right here along this edge of the field when I first crawled into the blind. Unbelievably, the big deer remained right where he was, chewing his cud until I got set up. I made a perfect hit with the .50 caliber Pro Hunter, and the big deer made it just inside the woods and died under these cedars. By zooming back, we're able to see where I was hunting when I missed the buck on my first trip to Joe's farm, and also where I eventually ended up shooting the deer. These two spots are roughly only about a third of a mile apart. Standing corn was a primary attractant in both places. Hey, I don't know where exactly on earth we'll be zooming in next week, but I do know that you don't want to miss it. We'll see you here.
Zooming In has been brought to you by Under Armour Performance Apparel.